Hi all, let's do some more Java here. Before we get started, I've got a joke here. Old book, 1940 something, World Book of Best Jokes. Got it on the free rack of the library. It's a manager talking to his waitresses at a restaurant. The manager says, "Now girls, I want you all to look your best today. Add a little dab of powder to your cheeks and take a bit more care with your hair." And one of the waitresses says back, "What's on? Something special?" And the manager says, "No, the beef's tough." Okay, so this will be Java 3. We're going to start out with Hello World again, but we're going to do it a little different with the concatenate. That just means to hook two strings together. If you watch the previous video, this is called a string, this is called a string. Don't let the word string mess you up. It just means a string of characters. Fancy word for a sentence. So just to kind of get things started here, I've got a folder on C: for my Java programs here, and I've got a shortcut to that folder here. Okay, so just to keep things in line here, I'm going to name these 001, 002 was the second video, and then the third video will be 3. Okay, so we have our folder here now, and we'll go ahead and create a text file here. Then we'll go back and get our code. Paste that in, and I'm going to grab the class name here. Rename the text file, change the extension, okay. Start up the command prompt, move into that folder, run the compiler, no errors means it worked. Created a class file here, run it with Java, and you can see it concatenated those two strings. So just to show you what that did here, it took that string and that string and put them together with the plus sign. Okay, so that's the concatenate operator, fancy word for plus sign. Okay, so Next one is a little different. What we're going to do is take the string hello world and put it inside of a variable named a. Okay? And it's a variable that's going to hold a string. Okay? So a represents that word or that string. And then we print it to the command prompt using a. Here, I'll show you what it does here. And if we wanted to, we could create a whole nother folder, but I'm just going to put it inside this one here. And then we can use our history to compile it. And then run it. And you can see now we have hello world printed to the screen. Okay, so a is a variable, and we stored hello world inside of a. What is a holding on to? What type of variable is a? It's a string variable. And then we do the print line and output a. That's how we get hello world to the screen. That one's kind of different than what we've been doing so far, as opposed to just printing out the string. Here we just took the string, threw it to the screen. Here we stored the string inside of a variable and then displayed it. This one up here, these strings are hard coded. You can't change it. Okay. This one is kind of the same thing. But here we're declaring two variables, a and b. So a is going to equal the string hello world. B is going to equal the string good luck. And then we're going to print the two strings out here using the concatenate. And you can see we're kind of getting carried away with this, just to give you a few examples of how this stuff works. So make sure I saved it so we get the changes here. Compile it. And then run it. And that's how we get this text output to the screen. If we wanted to, we could do it like this. So now, instead of on one line, they're on two separate lines, because print line does a carriage return, like hitting the enter key to go down to the next line. It just depends on what you want to happen inside your program. Okay, so that's all I have for the actual code. These things here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these are what they call comments. What you can do is put comments inside of your application, inside of your code, and that helps you remember what you did. So this isn't output to the screen, and the Java compiler kind of ignores them. So here I'll show you. Okay, you can see how this line is just ignored. It still prints out this line, but this is just a reminder to you as the programmer what you did. Now, of course, this is a silly example, but as your programs get bigger, it might be harder and harder to remember what you did here. What's this function do, or what's this fancy little thing do? You might remember this week or this month, but if you come back to it in a few weeks or a few months, it's hard to remember. Well, why did I do that? Or what's it do? Where did it go? That's the purpose of a comment. Now these one-line comments with the 2 forward slashes, that's more of a modern type thing. You can also put them at the end of the line. It's just a personal preference where you want to put them. Just to show you that it works. Okay, so you can see it's the Java compiler just ignores this line here. Okay, so this type of comment is a more modern type thing. They also have a different type of comment. It's inside these 2 guys. So this is the same type of thing, but it's more of an old-fashioned style, but it's still available inside Java. So you'll see it like this. And what this is good for, though, is you can have multiple line comments. So like inside of a function, you'll see something like this. And there might be a whole paragraph here that explains what this program does or what this function does. So just to make sure this works here. Okay. And sometimes you'll see they'll just throw in more asterisks here, so you'll see it written like this. See up here, I left out that one in the center. The only thing the Java compiler looks for is this is the start of the comment and this is the end of the comment, and you can do anything you want in between here and it's just ignored. So that's what's going on here, but they just kind of fancy things up here. Okay. One more thing. We had talked about these Java docs in the first video. I'm going to go ahead and take mine and put it on C:. It may take a minute or two to move because it's a pretty big file. See, I have mine on my desktop. I keep moving it around, throwing it in different folders, and then my links can't find it. So I just put it on C:, and then here's the index file, and then I can save a link to that, or I can put it in my bookmarks here. Here's my old link. See, you can't find it now because I moved it. You know, you'd think it would be smart enough to say, hey, he moved it to C:, it's over here now. But you know, Windows can't do that. I think Macs can do that. I started on a Mac back in the 90s, and back then the Mac would follow the shortcut. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab this name here because I had renamed it. And then I'm going to rename this one here. That's actually a pretty good name, but I'm just going to shorten it up a little bit. Java Platform Docs. I'm going to go Java 8. Skimming through these things right now, it would be real tricky to understand. Something you might want to check out is like the Java tutorials here. Getting started. It's basically the same thing that we've gone over the last couple videos. But if you're looking for something to read, that would be a good start. Here's HelloWorld. Here they're saying HelloWorld with the GUI IDE. That's just a GUI. Like when you open Word and start messing around inside Microsoft Word, that's a GUI. You open up Paint, you know, that's a GUI. You know. Here, when we do things on the command line, you know, it's a window, it's still a GUI, but you're doing things on the command line. It's not thought of as an IDE in the sense of a GUI would be. Now, I just think it's better if we start with the command line, because then you could get the hang of the code. If we start with the GUI, they throw in all kind of extra code to get the pop-up boxes and things like that to come up, to get the GUI stuff to happen. And when we get into the more details of the code, it would make it hard to understand if we had all this other stuff going on. So you can see here they're showing you inside NetBeans. You create a new project, name it, and you can see right off the bat, you know, package, class name. There's our main. And then they're showing you how the comments work here. Put in that one string of text. and then you compile it and it runs. So you can see that's a lot of extra baggage just to see how this one line works. So, you know, a GUI is definitely the best way to go. Don't get me wrong there. But for right now, let's just get the code, and then we'll worry about this fancy stuff later on. NetBeans is cool, but I think most people are going Eclipse. That's the other GUI. If you're getting into Java, it would be best if you learn both of them, at least a general idea. Because wherever you go for a job, one company might use NetBeans, another company might use Eclipse. You know, it's going to be the same thing. Java's Java, no matter where you go. Using NetBeans over Eclipse will be the difference is whether you're driving a Ford or a Chevy or a truck. You know, you get into the vehicle, it's like, where's the bright lights at? You know, where's the stick shift at? It's the same stuff. You know, so it's really not that big of a deal. So. HelloWorld for Windows, HelloWorld on Unix. Doing it on Unix will be the same thing. Running it through the command prompt or a GUI. I used to do it on Linux, but it's been a while. So this one should be exactly what we're doing. Let's see what this one says here. So you start the terminal, go to the examples, make a Java folder here. You use Pico to create your file, or Vi, or Vim. Here's your code. See, the code itself is exactly the same. Java C on the Java file. Create your class file. And then run it with Java. So the actual compiling and running the app is the same. So, and these days, most of the Linux stuff, it's all GUI based. It's just like Windows. You know, you have desktop, you have icons to click on. So, you know, you don't have to do it through the terminal, through the command prompt here. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and stop there. So I'll see you next time. Bye.